It was the year the sow eradicated her piglets. It was a swift and menacing time. One of the local dogs was having a phantom pregnancy. Things were leaving one place and showing up in another. It was springtime when I arrived in the country, an east wind blowing, an uncanny wind as it turned out. Certain things began to arise. The pigs came later, though not much, and even if I had only recently arrived, had no livestock caretaking responsibilities, had only been in to look safely on one side of the electric fence, I knew they were right to hold me responsible. But all that, as I said, came later. Where to begin? I can, it is true, shed light on my actions only, and even then it is a weak and intermittent one. I was the youngest child, the youngest of many, more than I care to remember, whom I tended from my earliest infancy, before, indeed, I had the power of speech myself, and although my motor skills were by then scarcely developed, these, my many siblings, were put in my charge. I attended to their every desire, smoothed away the slightest discomfort with perfect obedience, with the highest degree of devotion, so that over time their desires became mine, so that I came to anticipate wants not yet articulated, perhaps not even yet imagined, providing my siblings with the greatest possible succor, filling them up only so they could demand more, always more, demands to which I acceded with alacrity and discreet haste, ministering the complex curative draughts prescribed to them by various doctors, serving their meals and snacks, their cigarettes and aperitifs, their nightcaps and bedside glasses of milk. Of our parents I will say nothing, not yet, no. I continued to spend the long years since childhood cultivating solitude, pursuing silence to its ever-receding horizon, a pursuit that demanded a particular quality of attention, a self-forgetfulness on my part that would enable me to bring to bear the most painstaking, the most careful consideration to the other, to treat the other as the worthiest object of contemplation. In this process, I would become reduced, diminished. Ultimately, I would become clarified, even cease to exist. I would be good. I would be all that had ever been asked of me. Better, perhaps, to begin again. There was the house, standing at the end of a long dirt track and in a stand of trees, on a hill above a small, sparsely inhabited town. A creek marked the property boundary to one side, and at night the sound of its fretful flow came through my bedroom window. Looking down the long drive, one could see dense forest, a small town deep in the valley, and beyond, the mountains, higher than any I had seen before. The plot of land and the house which sat upon it belonged to my brother, my eldest brother. Why he ended up in this remote northern country, the country, it transpired, of our family's ancestors, an obscure though reviled people who had been dogged across borders and put into pits, had doubtless to do, at least in part, with his sense of history, oriented as it was towards progress, turned towards the future, ever in search of efficiencies. From a practical point of view, and pragmatism was naturally of the utmost importance to my brother, he was also engaged in some perfectly reasonable, if slightly perverse, business dealings, for he was, or at least had been, a businessman involved in the successful selling and trading, importing and exporting, of a variety of goods and services, the specifics of which to this day remain a mystery to me. I came to stay in the house upon his request, and initially for a period of 6 months, leaving the country of our birth for this cold and faraway place where my brother had made his life, had at any rate made his money, of which there was, as I would come to see with my very own eyes, a great deal. I saw no reason to object. I had always wanted to live in the countryside, had often driven through the rural areas surrounding my natal city in the autumn, to see the leaves in color, to experience the fresh air, so different from the turgid air downtown, well known to be the primary cause of the high rates of infant mortality. Not that I had children myself, no. Nevertheless, the air quality and its deleterious effects on public health were of concern to me as much as they might have been to any other ordinary citizen.